Hi, my genealogy queen. So I know that this is quite tacky trying to get a tree on my computer to make a video. However, I wanted to kind of speak on an issue that was brought up maybe a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago, where a woman had complained about schools requiring children to do family trees, and she just didn't like the idea, and she felt like family trees should not be done as projects in the school anymore, and she made a big fit about that. Now, there were people who reacted to this, like people like The Real and stuff like that. I only watched the reaction that The Real had, and the women on the show said that some said it was good and some said it was bad. Some said that it was bad because people who are adopted don't know their family, so they can't make a family tree. Some people said that some people growing up in families, like their parents didn't know they're a certain parent, or their parents didn't grow up with a certain parent, so they have no information on that, and it could just open up wounds along with the adopted kids and stuff like that. And those were some of the bad things, and then some were talking about it's good because it's important to know your family history and stuff like that. So my take on this is pretty much that I can see where the negatives come in, with depending on the situation of the person. So like with me being adopted, I did my own research. I was never forced to do a project in school ever in my life on a family tree. But I did my own family tree. I did my own family research. So that was all my own. But, I do understand how some people can have maybe just doubts about doing stuff like that, because it may open up some wounds that people don't want to, I guess, figure out, or they just may not have access to enough information to do a tree. Some families do have that problem. However, I do still feel like it's important to do family trees and to look up your family history and to know your families, where your family comes from, especially because of adopted kids. Especially that, because, for kids who may not be old enough to even have the capability to do all that information for a family tree, I just think it's important that even if they don't have, access to that, the family that they grew up in, they can tell, they can learn from the family they grew up in about that family. Even though that's not their blood family, that is still their family, so they can learn about that family, and that could be their family tree. To me, that's another thing. Now, I get it that it's not the same because it's not their blood, but that's the family they grew up in. Some adopted kids never meet their family, and some do, like myself, and some are fortunate enough. But I also put in the work for that. I didn't just wait around and wait for a miracle to happen. Like, I put in the work for it. So you have to put in the work for it. I feel like with the negatives being there, there's always going to be a negative to something. You're always going to have your what ifs and your what will happen, but it's important for people to know where they come from. And I think that really in this day and age, a lot of people are trying to make excuses for why they don't want to look up their family history. And that leads to people not knowing where they come from, and then getting to a certain age to where they want to know where they come from, but, it's really too late. And I try to always say that it's never too late, but there is a point where it's too late. And you don't want to get there. I mean, yeah, you could be 95 and you could look up your family history. But I mean, you could have had so much more of a richer experience with that at a younger age, because you would have had more years to explore and more years to know more about yourself than to just do it before you die, or do it at such an old age where, you're kind of like, oh, okay, So it's important for people to know where they come from. It's important for people to know their history. So I completely agree that family trees should still be, like, I'm not against them being done in school, but I think that there's a way they should go about that. There's a way that they should pretty much enforce it. So for they should I don't know. Like, the Real was talking about how they should, because this is a very touchy topic, but the Real was talking about how they should talk to some of the parents, like the principal and stuff like that, and the teachers, and ask about the family. Is the father present? Is the mother present? What do you guys know about the history? Is the child adopted? Is the child in contact with the biological family if adopted? All these questions they should ask so that they know about their students, and I completely 100% agree about that. But I do not agree with the fact that we should just not do research on our family or not do family trees at all, even in school, because kids need to know where they come from, and it's just important and it's vital. But not everybody feels that way, and some people would like to make excuses, but there are negatives to it, and I do agree with some of the negatives, as I have tried to mention some conclusions, I'm not conclusions, but some solutions to that. So, tell me your thoughts and tell me what you think about this situation. And please, I would love to hear your thoughts and kind of how you would handle it. All right, Genealogy Queens. Bye.